As of this month, we are officially 1 year into the 4 weeks to flatten the curve. After a year of masks, social distancing, and far too much hand sanitizer, we are hopeful that the new mRNA vaccine will actually flatten the curve. I think it's important that we talk about this because we need to bring awareness to the vaccine and how it functions, because education helps lessen fear. I personally live with an autoimmune disease that puts me at a higher risk of getting COVID and having serious complications, so therefore I have done extensive research about both the virus and the vaccine. So today we're going to talk about research that went into mRNA vaccines, how the mRNA vaccine created by Pfizer and Moderna works, and the current statistics regarding the vaccination rate versus the infection rate. There is a lot of doubt surrounding how quickly this vaccine was created. Vaccines as we know them have been the same for a very long time. A Time magazine created an article called The Race to Save the World. In 1796, Edward Jenner noticed that a lot of milkmaids seemed to be immune to smallpox. Smallpox is an infectious disease that can cause fever and a very distinct rash. He began to research and revealed that the milkmaids had been infected with cowpox, which is similar to smallpox but relatively harmless. Because of this, their body had already created antibodies to fight the cowpox, and so when seeing smallpox, it had a better idea of how to fight it. Current vaccinations then used that similar knowledge to their benefit. Measles and mumps vaccines, for instance, inject a weakened version of the virus, while polio uses a killed version to get your immune system to respond. With these advances in scientific discoveries, these diseases were basically eradicated, which I would say is a win for humankind. Most people are familiar with DNA, but less with mRNA. The Encyclopedia of Britannica sums it up when they outlined mRNA. DNA is the master builder that holds all the info needed for all known organisms, while mRNA is handed specific blueprints by DNA to build proteins using amino acids. That's why the M in mRNA literally stands for messenger. A dictionary of scientists did a piece on a man named Sidney Brenner who worked in molecular biology, which when he was in college for medicine wasn't even a field of study yet. Then there was James Watson, whose work led to a discovery of the molecular structure of DNA. Together, these two researchers paved the way for the discovery and naming of mRNA in 1961 and how it works in our bodies. Before COVID-19, mRNA vaccines were already being tested on things like rabies and the Zika virus. But a main hurdle to the mRNA vaccine was finding an efficient and stable way of getting the vaccine administered. We developed a way to insert the mRNA into carrier molecules, which more efficiently gets it into the cytoplasm. A fact that a lot of people do not currently know is that mRNA does not include a weakened or a dead version of the virus. It's literally just the mRNA. So now that we have a very basic understanding of the benefits and the safety, we can discuss how the vaccine actually works. The simplicity of it is really genius. The COVID virus wears a protein called the spike protein to invade our cells, where it can then multiply. The spike protein has spikes made up of amino acids and sugar molecules. This is what gives it the spiky look when viewed using a microscope. These spikes allow the virus to cling to unsuspecting cells in the human body. Once the virus has hijacked our cells, it flips the switch on production. It's sort of like a factory being acquired, and it's being told, instead of making human things, now you're going to make the virus instead. The article ACE2, the molecule that helps coronavirus invade our cells, explains that this happens because of ACE2. That is an enzyme that's attached to the cell membranes of cells found in the heart and lungs, and that is what the protein actually clings to. As I said, the mRNA vaccine does not have a weakened or dead version of the virus. Instead, the vaccine just has mRNA and carrier molecules. The vaccine is basically a set of blueprints to make the spike protein. When the vaccine is given, our cells read the instructions. They begin manufacturing the spike protein, which is harmless on its own. And then our body takes those instructions that were injected, throws them into a paper shredder, and our body disposes of it as we dispose of all waste. Our immune system, ever keen to spot things that don't belong, eventually notices the protein, in a rage, responds, and sends white blood cells. If you were to be infected with COVID before the vaccine, your body would need time to figure out how to defeat the virus. During that time that you're strategizing and dispersing troops, the virus is multiplying and destroying healthy cells, making it an uphill battle to catch up for your immune system. With the vaccine, your body can determine the right antibodies and ways to destroy it during the practice run. The next time your immune system sees this particular spike protein, your white blood cells immediately go, "This guy again." They quickly stage an attack against the protein, disabling the virus from binding and switching up the factory mode to virus and overtaking. Now that we've discussed the virus and how the vaccine works, we can discuss the numbers. Getting COVID-19 can be potentially life-threatening. The severe symptoms include fever, a dry cough, shortness of breath, and chest pain. As of January 21st, 2020, a total of 521,294 people have died. That was from the CDC website as of 3/6/2021. Vaccines began being distributed around the end of December. On January 8th, we saw the highest spike of new daily cases, 314,000. As of March 5th, the new daily cases are down to around 66,000. On January 10th, 1 million people had received both doses, which means that they were fully vaccinated. As of March 5th, 29 million people have received both doses. So what you're seeing is that a trend in the higher fully vaccinated count seems to correspond to a decreasing count in new daily cases. In conclusion, mRNA and its use is not a new science, but something that has been studied for quite a few years. The vaccine itself is genius and is really an avenue that could lead to so many other things. So I've discussed the research behind mRNA, how the new mRNA COVID-19 vaccination works, and the numbers behind COVID. So I leave you with this. There have been over 28 million cases of COVID and over 500,000 people have died in just the US. We must keep fighting this virus and not back down. My boyfriend, who's in the National Guard and on active duty because of COVID, just received his second dose and is fully vaccinated. And I myself look forward to receiving my very first dose and becoming vaccinated as well.